Hello everybody, today we are going to talk a bit about backpacks. It's not really Sony camera related, although in a way it is. The reason I'm making this, and I make them before, is because I always find this is probably the most difficult sort of thing to get right? How to carry your camera stuff. Because it always turns out to be a little bit different in size for different systems. So if you, for example, look at camera bags, most of the time it's very helpful if you see somebody using your own type of lenses and your own type of cameras, because then it going to give you a good feeling about size. And I find it one of the most difficult things to figure out. So this week we have two camera bags again. I'm slowly moving from the think tanks, which are lovely and nice, but they are side carrying, just normal bags, to backpacks, especially for daily use. So about a week ago I ordered the lowepro protactic 350, which is the smaller one that you are seeing, and I wound up thinking that that was a mistake. Or mistake is not the correct word for it. It's limiting me in a way that I don't like, and I will get back to it when I show it a little bit closer up. But first, because I'm going to do different shot and bring them together, which is something I normally don't do, because the first part is I will show you a bit how the 350 works, and the 450, which is behind it, is only came in like 10 minutes ago. And I will get back to that later once I really try to fit everything in. And as you know, that sometimes with a bag can take hours and hours before you figure out what is a good setup. The tricky part here, you can already see that the 350 and the 450, there's quite a big size difference to it. And this is yeah, I would almost say tricky for two reasons. A, online you'll find that sometimes they are using pictures of the bags, the same internal pictures, which I think is kind of misleading, but also simply the way that nature works is a little bit misleading, because these bags are only 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters difference in size, but it adds up to being 60% bigger. So although on paper it looks there's almost no difference in size between the two, there actually is, which for me will probably end up from me owning both of them, because I think the 350 is very nice for my daily commute. It can hold my my laptop and most of my camera stuff, but it doesn't allow me to take one set of clothes with me and take it into the airplane in the way that I wanted it to do, or if I want to take camera stuff and a little bit of movie stuff. So in the third part of this video we'll find out if this actually now works in a new bag the way that I wanted it to. So this is the first one. Let me flip it over and take another, show you the other side, and then do a close-up shot of what is now in the first bag, so the 350 model. So the second part, I now flip them over, and as you can see, although there's only like 4 centimeters in both directions that the 450 is bigger than the 350, it already looks a totally different size, right? It's weird, but that's what it is, right? Let me open the bag up and the 350 up and show you a little bit where I think it did fine and where for me the troubles sort of begin, or the limitations. So here we are again. I now opened up the 350 bag, which is the smaller of the two bags, and well, maybe in the next shot when I talk about the 450, it might already be dark outside, so the light might be different. But let's first talk about this one. Again, I'm only making these videos to show you a little bit what I think the benefits and the problems are with this bag for Sony users, right? This by any measure is a small backpack. It's, I would almost say, like a half-size sort of backpack. But it can hold a lot of stuff, but some of the sizes of the Sony lenses kind of work against it, and let me get back to that. So, but in general, what you see, there's a flap here where you can put your laptop, in this case a 13-inch laptop, so I use a MacBook Air, fits perfectly. and you close it up on the back side of it, so it's in a safe position. You have to take the bag off before people can do it. A nice detail, I won't really do a full review, but a nice detail is that you can take the bottom strap, so the one that goes around your waist, you can take that off. It's connected with Velcro, and like me, a lot of people don't like it, not in daily use, and they take it off, which works perfectly. For the rest, go online and yeah, look for reviews for this bag. That is not what I want to talk about. But you can see in the top flap, there's areas for your batteries, your filters, and some other stuff. So that's nice. Now what I got in here is basically the A6500, right, with a peak strap, and you can take it out from the front side, so like this, and you can take it out from the bottom side. I kind of created a small sort of area that it can shift in. That works fine, it's really small, and that means that you have a lot of space left for lenses. Now here is where the trouble kind of started for me, is that I wanted to be able to put all my stuff in that I normally use, plus a set of clothing, and that just doesn't fit. And one of the problems is, compared to my old backpack, which was quite a cheap one, is the depth of the system. So in the other one, the lenses, I was stacking them, which is yeah, a good idea. But in this case it doesn't work, because if you look, let's take this lens, which is the 16-70, which is already a bigger lens for Sony APS-C size. You can already see that there's a lot of room left in the height of the bag. So even if we take a smaller one, so let me take this one, which is the 10-18, very nice lens if you are doing landscapes or video, you can already see there's a lot of dead space here. The same with the lens, or with the camera, right? You can see, if you look at my fingers, there's at least like 4 or 5 centimeters left, which is kind of, yeah, unused space. So I ended up having to resort to doing stacking with other stuff. So for example, you can't see it, but in this one I put my Mac charger there, which is an okay solution, but it's not perfect, right? It kind of limits how much you can put in the bag. Over here, which holds my 70-200, in the bottom I put a small tripod there, right? There's a Manfrotto tripod there, and I can sort of put this over there and then put the 70-200 there. So in the end, it's I'm complaining, but there's a lot that I can do in this bag, because you can see I have the camera with one lens attached, either the 24mm or the 16-70. I can have next to that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lenses. If I really want 7 lenses. Here I have the flash, so the Nissan 60A flash with the air commander sort of attachment. Over here, which I do think is nice, so I put my headphones over here. Over here you have room, you can see that there's a battery pack here. So the really big battery pack that I can use for movie and to feed the camera. I did a review on that. What is nice, they come with these back come with these small sort of things that you can attach to the back of the bag, the backpack. There's several of them. I don't really want to have them on the outside. I want to have it as clean as possible when I'm just walking around. But in extreme cases, if you want to have something extra in your bag, like food or whatever, and you're walking outside, I figured it was handy to use them, because at least I have the options. So this is holding some extension tubes and a lot of my cables, right? So I can put it over here. Again, this, I would almost say, I can see how you would say, why are you complaining? This seems like a perfect fit. And in many ways, it's not that bad. But I wanted to have space left for clothing or just more stuff. This does not, for example, this is kind of what I want to have with me when I'm doing small things and photography. This is kind of what I would say 99% of the time when I'm outside, I have this bag with me. I'm a big guy, so that doesn't really bother me. That's about 5 or 6 or 7 kilograms. But the downside is that I could not do several things that I wanted to, and I will get back to that in the last part of the video when I'm going to try the 450 and to see if it resolves some of these issues, and also if I can have a really weird solution that I'm thinking about, which I'm not sure if it will work. So I will first try it and then admit the weird idea or ignore it forever. So this was the second part of the video. Get back to you soon, and hopefully in a happy mood when I find out that the 450 is actually doing something that I wanted, which I could not get the 350 to work for. So here we are again in the third part, and as I expected, we are already several hours later, or maybe 2 hours later, because it always ends up that you're trying to figure something out with these bags, and again I had mixed success. So I think this bag will definitely work for 2 out of the 3 things that I wanted, and maybe I can get the third to work. So it's now also time to reveal my weird idea. So let me show you what's in the bag now. So this is again the bigger bag, the 450. So I didn't put the laptop in and all the filters and the other stuff, because I think that was never a problem in this new setup. So what let me remark the difference, right? So firstly, I designed this a little bit different, how to put in the camera itself. There's a little bit more space here simply because it's deeper, and I think there, if you're into the Sony system, for not everybody, but because I'm totally convinced I will keep both bags, and the 350 I will use for daily use. It's just a nicer day-to-day sort of solution. When for me the difference will be when I'm going away for a few days, or if I want to take the tripod, and more about that later. So this is now the design. Again, the camera is here, a little bit more space, and again that's the biggest difference, that it now is possible, because this is quite a lot deeper on the 450, to have multiple lenses stacked, and that makes a huge difference. So you can see that I have now 1, 2, and on this side I have the both wide angle lenses, so a prime and a zoom. Right, for people who want to know, the Samyang 12 millimeters 2.0 and the cell 10 to 18. Over here I have, I did not take it out before, so still need to get some room. You can see that I have the flash. It's now sort of in an upright position. It works. I think it's a workable solution. You have to probably fill out a little bit how to get it better, but it's not bad. Then here we have the 72-800, and below this we have a bag, the one that I showed before, that is supplied with all my cables. So that's not too bad. Now I'm probably going to make another part of this video, because in the lower part you can see that the bag is something weird is happening. So let me put this back. So the weird part here is that I wanted to have 2 things with me if I can. The first is a tripod. Now, no problem at all, I can have a tripod with me. I now took it apart because of the lower reason, but normally it would fit quite easily like this, or like this. I still need to figure out, and I might even at some point be able to do it like this, but if I connect it up, so this is the center column I can take out, it's fiddly, right? So and the whole reason is because of the lower part of the bag that you are now seeing. I wanted, that was a trick I wanted to test, can I put one of the other bags completely into this bag? So I will now move it up. You can see that if I put it like this, there's now a complete ThinkPad bag inside the other bag. If I take it out, and there's in fact also still an iPad in there and some other stuff, So you can see what the argument I was making before. It's now no problem at all to put the tripod in here and probably like this. So there are different ways of doing it, even if it's still totally connected to each other. Let me put that back because it makes sense while I'm talking. So 2 out of 3 score ain't bad, right? So clearly there's much more room in the back, and I can now take my tripod with me, and more important, you can already see there's more than enough space to take a little bit of clothing with you for 2 or 3 days, which was my main sort of aim. The bag in the bag trick, which might work with a different bag, or it might even work with this bag. In fact, it does work with this bag, but it does cost quite a lot of room. And the second downside that I'm already seeing is that yeah, it doesn't work with the tripod trick, right? So you can see quite easily that the tripod fits probably like this, right? And then I put a new blockade over here. You can see there's still a lot of space to put either clothing or something else, right? So I need to think about if I really want to have the bag in the bag idea, because I think it was not a bad idea, and I think it's workable. I'm just wondering if it's yeah, if it's smart. So I need to think about it, because clearly you can already see, if I close this up in a better way, that the lower part is quite comfortable, can fit either all the video stuff that I want to take with me. So the second option I want is, can I use this as a video bag? It's clear that you can put like an extra tripod, small tripod over here, the audio and the monitor and other stuff over here. It will then be quite complete to take also the video stuff with me. So just everything together, that will be a hard sell. So yeah, but this is, I guess, the end of part 2. I will probably now finish it up a little bit in the tripod sort of sorry, in the video mode, and then talk a little bit to end this video. So thank you so far. So this is the last part, and quite short because we're also running out of battery. I hate the kit lens because you have to reset it every time. So I now put the laptop in, and I kind of put the other an extra divider here, which I already talked about. I think this can now be done smarter because it's now kind of overlapping, but at least it's safe. And you can see that I put 3 extra now empty boxes in here. So one is normally my second camera, one for the audio, well, I think it was over here. The tripod is still below, and one for the LCD setup. So just to recap what I would then have in this bag, which I think is kind of cool. One camera, a second camera. I think I can also put a small tripod below. 5 or 6 lenses, the flash, the bigger lens, cables are below, and this all fits quite easily into this bag. So basically a total, quite a complete sort of video setup. So not too bad, and that's the other solution, or the other thing that I wanted. If you take this out, you can clearly see that I can have some clothing in there for a 2 or 3 day trip. Or even if you're walking and you want to take the tripod with you, this is quite a safe area to put some water in there, or some other things. So one thing which is nice, which like this is the official divider for the left and right one, which I will put back. Instead of this construction, that you now indeed have these two openings, so you can open it from the side and take the tripod out, and you can open it from the top to take the camera out. So I think the bag is doing what I wanted it to do. It just I don't think the bag in the bag idea is a solid enough one to push ahead on. So yeah, that's what it is. So thank you for watching, and hopefully it will help you pick between these 2 bags, which I think I would almost say, if you want to are willing to spend the money. I don't think Either is bad. I think for daily use when going to work with a laptop and a few of your lenses and your camera, the 350, which let me put it into the picture again a tiny bit. So there it is, the 350 is clearly smaller and more manageable in the bus and the train and when you're walking. But if you want to have all your stuff with you, and especially the tripod, and just go out for a day of walking and making pictures, either take the 350 with the, that's what I would do. Take the 350 with remote, also external, the tripod, or take the bigger one and you have still a little bit of room to take some food with you, some other stuff that you want to have with you when you're walking. So I will keep both of them and yeah, use them whenever it makes sense to me. Thank you, bye bye, and hopefully it will be helpful for you.